As triathletes, we love a good routine, and understandably so, because we are trying to fit a heck of a lot of training in around our busy lives. So when work turn around and tell you that you've got to go on a business trip, we freak out. How are we going to get our training in? Where's the nearest pool? How are we going to cycle? Our training is going to go to pot. But believe it or not, it can be done. There are some incredibly fast age group athletes out there that are constantly living out of hotels, as I am today. So in this video, I'm going to be running you through some of those tips and tricks to your business trips. Well, traveling is just part and parcel of work for many of us, and trying to fit our training in around that travel can be a really tough task, let alone trying to find places to actually do that training. And I'm sure many of you experienced this before. You have a swim scheduled in and there is not a swimming pool in sight, or you have a run scheduled in and you're sandwiched between highways. It can seem like the end of the world at the time, but with a bit of prior planning and thought, you can actually keep that training up and really prevent it from suffering. Now, if you have some say in where you can stay whilst you're away, then do some research into some of the hotels in the area and try and find ones that have a small gym or a small swimming pool. Granted, they are probably not going to be the biggest or the best facilities out there, but they are going to be better than nothing at all. Or you can look for hotels that are obviously near to facilities that you can use. Another thing to think about is if you do know about your work trip well in advance, you can think about rejigging, rescheduling your training program to fit around the trip better. So if you know that you're not going to be able to swim and cycle whilst you're away, it's just going to be far too difficult to fit in, then you could do more of that before and after the trip, making the work trip a little bit more run focused. And that's just one example and a good way to keep the training nice and balanced. But that is actually a really good point, because out of the three disciplines, the running is probably the easiest to do as and when you like. I mean, all you need is a set of running shoes and maybe a treadmill at most. So it's actually quite a smart move. Now, obviously, this is not going to be your usual setup. It's not maybe going to be your ideal training. So you need to look at options and ways to tweak your training. So let's run you through some options for swimming. Now, if you don't have a pool available to you, believe it or not, you can still do some training. And you don't even need a gym like I'm in today. All you need is a set of swim cords, like these ones here, and then you can do it wherever you like. You can even do it within your hotel room if you like. Now, just attach that to a door handle, a table leg, or something sturdy like I have here, and then just bend forward from the hips, keep your trunk nice and taut, and then you can just pull through an entire stroke. And actually, it's a really good way of focusing on specific areas of the stroke, such as your catch, really making sure that muscles are engaging for that. Session-wise, you can follow something along the lines of 15 reps on the right arm, nice and slow and controlled, 15 reps on the left arm, and then into 3 minutes of both arms at around an intensity of 7 out of 10. And then we're going to go into 15 reps of right arm tricep kickbacks. So really fast and powerful, looking at the back end of the stroke. And the same again on the left arm, 15 reps of that. And then we're going to take 30 seconds recovery, and then we're going to do it 6 times through. But perhaps you do have a swimming pool available to you, but it's quite short. More often than not, they are at hotels. They're maybe 10 to 15 meters long, or they're quite a funny shape. So you're going to be pushed to actually do a good quality session in one of those. So another really good option is to use a bungee cord. Now you can use one which has a waist attachment like this, or a surfboard leash that will go around your ankle. Now at the other end of that, you want to make sure that it's attached to a pole, as I have here, or just around something quite sturdy and strong that's on land. And then you have this static swimming setup, almost like an endless pool. So you can do a session, something along the lines of a 5-minute warm-up, just swimming, just to make sure that you get used to using this bungee cord or a surfboard leash and you're finding that right balance point. And then go into 2 lots of 80 strokes at a 7 out of 10 intensity, taking 20 seconds recovery. And then 3 lots of 40 and 8 out of 10 intensity with 25-second recovery. And then 4 lots of 20 at a 9 out of 10 intensity. So really quite hard, taking 30 seconds recovery between each rep, and then finishing off with 5 minutes easy swimming, nice and smooth, just to finish off. Cycling wise, it can be a bit tricky, unless of course you're able to travel with your own bike or a turbo trainer. you're probably gonna have to accept that you're going to need to use a static gym bike like this one, or perhaps even a spin bike. I know they're not ideal, it's not your usual bike, so you're maybe not gonna be quite as comfortable, but it's still pretty good. You're still gonna be able to get a workout in, and of course you're able to maintain that all-important muscle memory. Now you notice on this bike here, we've actually got these pedals which have toe clips, so you can put them over our toes. And then on the other side, we've also got a cleat function. Now this is actually designed for those mountain bike cleats, so you might want to travel with your own pedals, a pedal spanner, and your own bike shoes, so you could swap the pedals out. Though, obviously, do check with the gym before you start taking parts off their bike. So now let's jump on the bike and run you through how it all works. So this bike, we have a resistance setting here. So you want to play around with that to figure out just how easy and how hard it goes. So if we work on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the minimum, the easiest setting, but with still a little bit of resistance. 10 being the hardest, but you're still able to pedal smoothly, but you might need to get up out of the saddle to do so. So if we're running through a little session, we'll start with 10 minutes at a 2 out of 10 intensity. Then we'll go into the main session, 10 minutes at around a 4 out of 10 intensity, then 3 minutes at a 6 out of 10, and then 30 seconds at an 8 out of 10. Then we're gonna recover for 3 minutes back to a 2 out of 10 intensity. Starting again, we've got 10 minutes at a 4 out of 10, and now we're going to increase the time a bit. We're doing 5 minutes at a 6 out of 10, and then a 1 minute at an 8 out of 10. And then to finish it off, we're going to cool down with 10 minutes at a 2 out of 10. And another option is to join a spin class. Now you just need to look online for a spin studio, and actually there's loads of them around nowadays. I've joined a couple in my time, and trust me, they are surprisingly tough. Now then, for the running, all you may need to do is just a little bit of research on the local area. I tend to just search for some green space or a park that I can head to, get some loops in, and head home. To do that, I'll tend to just use apps like Strava, Map My Run, Komoot, and you can see these routes that people have previously done and head out on them. Though I would suggest try not to make your route too complicated. You want to be able to just get out on that run, get back nice and easily and get that run in, rather than constantly having to refer to your phone and a map to try and find your way home and perhaps even getting lost. Now, if that is not an option and there are no run routes near you or it's just not suitable, then you may need to resort to a treadmill. And fortunately, most hotels do have gyms like this one. And they may have a treadmill in there, though it's worth just calling ahead to make sure they do have a treadmill and it's a functioning treadmill. Hotel gyms do notoriously have quite old treadmills, although they're getting a lot better, as I've got right here. So if you are trying to do maybe a faster sort of run session, really good quality, I wouldn't hold out on that because they're not always capable of doing that. You might want to just settle for something like a good aerobic run or a nice build run. Now, if you do have a slightly older treadmill, not maybe quite so good at doing those faster sessions, don't always rely on the speed either. They're not always quite so accurate. So you might want to just rely on more of your perceived effort, a scale of 1 to 10 perhaps. Also, don't forget to set that treadmill to around a 1% gradient to really replicate running outdoors. Now for a session on the treadmill, nice sort of classic build run, you want to start with something like a 10-minute warm up around a 2 out of 10. Then we're going to go to 10 minutes at a 5 out of 10, 10 minutes, 6 out of 10, and then finally 10 minutes at a 7 out of 10. And then we finally finish with 10 minutes warm down at a 2 out of 10. And there you've got a nice 50-minute build run. Now, if you are having to run indoors on a treadmill, it can be a little bit lonely, but a nice way of making it a little bit more exciting and more interesting is with something like Zwift. Now, all you need for that is a foot pod or a treadmill, a smart treadmill that has Bluetooth enabled. And then you can either use your phone or an iPad or tablet like this one here, and place that in front of you. You can get involved in this virtual world of running with people, get involved in group runs, you can chat to people. So although you were otherwise on your own, on a treadmill, you're now running with people. Of course, an even easier session to do, regardless of facilities, is a little strength and conditioning session. Now, if you do have a gym like this one here, fantastic. If you don't worry, because all you need is your hotel room, and we're gonna do some simple body-weighted exercises. Now, I find that if maybe I have just 20 minutes spare, that's not quite enough time to go and do a swim, a bike, or a run. But that is ample time to do some strength and conditioning. So let me run you through this nice, easy session. So you want to start with 25 reps of overhead squats. Then we're going to do 10 reps of push-ups, and then going in to 10 reps of inverted rows. And for that, you can just use a desk or a chair within your hotel room. Just make sure you don't break it. Then we're going to go back into 10 reps of push-ups, and then we're going to go into 30 seconds of plank. Then back to 10 reps of push-ups, 30 seconds of plank, and then you can take a 2 to 3 minute recovery, and then repeat it through as many times as you like. Now, you will have noticed that all of these sessions are relatively short and somewhat intense, and that is for a very good reason, because when you are traveling with work, you're unlikely to have a whole heap of time available to you. So you really want to be efficient with that time and make sure that you're getting maximum quality from that workout. Another bit of advice is to really make sure that you make the most of any time available to you, even if that is literally 10 to 20 minutes. That is 10 to 20 minutes of very valuable training. Finally, really look after your health. It's very easy to burn the candle at both ends by working hard and then trying to cram your training in. Just make sure that you're getting adequate recovery, you're eating well, and really looking after that health. Now, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, and if you'd like to see more from GTN, just click on the globe and subscribe. If you'd like to see our how to train indoors video, just click down here, and if you'd like to see our should you train when you're ill video, just click down here.